Another one of my favorite questions. We like to get into the music. So what type of music you listen to? Haven't had a basketball player say country yet, but I'm still going to slide it in there. So if you listen to any country, shout that out. But apart from that, what type of rap, what type of artists are you bumping?
Genre-wise, I listen to pretty much everything. I wouldn't say I listen to country, though. But I like Polo G. I like Lil Uzi. I like Lil Durk. Those are like my top three, really.
Hey, Naas, congrats. You are the first player on Hang Time Headlines to not mention Lil Baby. The first player we've interviewed to not mention Lil Baby.
Check the stats, dog. I can see the future with my mask up. Big hang time, I'm a blast off.
Today we welcome Naas Cunningham to the Hang Time Headlines podcast. Naas is currently the top basketball prospect in the 2024 class. He's listed at 6'8", 175 with offers from some big-time programs such as LSU, Maryland, Nebraska, Texas Tech, and more. How you doing, Naas?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing well. We also got John in the building. How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's my first interview in a while, but good to be back.
Oh yeah, first interview for John. Hang Time Headlines. As always, like, comment, subscribe to YouTube, follow us on Spotify, rate, review, Apple Podcasts, Insta, TikTok, Twitter, all the socials. You know what's up. But we got a freaking great guest today. I said it. Number 1 recruit 2024 class. Naas, it's clear you're a highly touted prospect. We've seen many websites, such as freaking ESPN, listing you as the best prospect in the 2024 class. So could you take us back to the beginning? How did you even start playing basketball? How old were you? When did this all, start to happen?
My dad, he introduced me to every sport. He wanted to see which one I liked the best. I was pretty good at most sports, but basketball really stuck with me the most. I found it the most fun, entertaining. And that was around first grade, I started taking it seriously. And then fourth grade is when I started playing AAU. And then ever since then, I've just been working.
Love to hear that. And, we did our research. We saw your father on a video, I believe Eric Cunningham. He was talking about, all the hard work that you're putting in and his role in supporting you. Can you talk a little bit about, your father, your parents, any relatives' influence in your basketball journey and what they mean to you?
I basically grew up in a basketball family. Both my sisters played basketball. My dad used to play basketball, football. And my mom just likes watching basketball. So everybody around me played basketball. So my dad, he never wanted to force me to do something I didn't want to do. So he always made it my option. If I wanted to work hard to go get something, he was going to push me to do it. He wasn't going to let me slack. But he wasn't going to force me to do something that I didn't want to do. So he was always hard on me, make sure I worked my hardest, always make sure I was focused. So I feel like without my dad, my mom's support, I probably wouldn't be in the position I am today.
That's facts, man. We all got to shout out the parents. They're supporting us, early on. And who else is supporting us? We got the coaches.
Parents are one of the biggest influencers we have in our lives, and your dad has pushed you more than you could probably imagine. Did you have any coaches that you would want to shout out that were particularly good in your development, helped you really grow as a basketball player and as a person?
Early on, not really early, but my middle school coach, as soon as I came to the school, tried out for the team, he told my dad, yeah, he's a special one. He told my dad, he was like, he's going to be a good one. And ever since then, he's always been there for me, trying to help me, giving me gym times if I needed it, always just trying to help me out. So my middle school coach, definitely.
All right, so you've mentioned little middle school basketball, little AAU basketball so far, and that's one thing with a lot of these top basketball prospects that we talk to. There's a big difference between middle school and AAU. So can you talk a little bit about which route you take? You play both? You like one or the other? What was your experience like playing middle school AAU basketball?
Middle school basketball, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't as competitive as AAU basketball. So for middle school, I played for New Heights and New Jersey Scholars, which are top teams. We played the best competition from all over the country, so it was definitely a different experience from middle school, but I definitely enjoyed playing both.
Do you have any memorable games or any particular season where you really took that step? Anything that you particularly remember? A specific play, you maybe posterized someone or got a sick block. What really stands out to you?
We love those middle school posters.
Definitely 8th grade. Summer going into 8th grade, I think that's when I really took the next step in my game. I was in the gym every day, always going hard, and that's when where I showed my most improvement. That 8th grade year, that's when I really started making a name for myself. I played on the Made Hoop circuit, made a lot of noise there, got my name out there. And then, pretty much, I think that was my most memorable year because it's really what got me started. So, yeah, my 8th grade year.
And so you talk about, taking that step up in 8th grade. Was that the point where you realized you had a lot of potential as a basketball player? Or was it earlier on? When did it really hit you? Yo, I can do something with this basketball thing?
I would say it was my 7th grade year that I personally noticed. I wouldn't say I realized that I could do. I always knew I had potential, but it was where I would get the confidence from to go ahead and show my potential. So I would always be a shy person on the court. I wasn't ball dominant, none of that. But 7th grade is where I started to realize if I start to take over, then it's really, the sky's the limit for me.
Yeah, that's freaking crazy. Young age, 7th, 8th grade, we're talking. And is this kind of the same time when you really fell in love with basketball, or was that even earlier? Because you mentioned your dad, he wanted you to play a bunch of different sports growing up. So, when did basketball really, I love basketball. This is the sport for me,
Definitely 2nd grade. That's when I realized it was what I wanted to do. I'd say since 2nd grade, I think that's when I made up my mind, this is what I want to do for a living. I want to be a professional basketball player. So ever since then, it was just basketball, nothing else. Basketball, school, family, no other sports, no nothing. It was just basketball. So probably, around that age, that's when I realized I really loved it.
We love to see that focus. Freaking 2nd grade. I didn't have my stuff figured out at all then, so it's crazy that you're that motivated. Elephant in the room. We've mentioned it a little bit. We got to talk about it. We've seen your tape, bro. It's clear you can throw it down. You're throwing big-time dunks. I'm seeing alley-oops, windmills, off the backboard, through the legs, all sorts of absolute nonsense. So when did you first put down your first dunk, and what was that feeling like? Walk me through that a little bit.
My first dunk, I believe, was 7th grade summer. No. 8th grade, the beginning of 8th grade. So that's when I first got my first dunk ever, period. And then that 8th grade middle school season was where I got my first in-game dunk. And the best feeling in the world because I always wanted to dunk. And then finally being able to do it in game, I was like, oh yeah, I'm unstoppable. Nobody can stop me now. I thought I was the king of the world.
That was like me in 7th grade when I touched the rim. I wasn't even throwing down.
That's awesome. Naas. You got a most memorable dunk. You've been in high school for a bit now. I'm sure you're doing that regularly. So,
and we've seen lots of dunks, bro. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Most memorable dunk, it would definitely be from one of my tournaments I played at Spooky Nook. My teammate had got a rebound. I was already leaking out. He threw the ball out to me, and I went between the legs on the fast break, and that it went viral. Everybody seen it. It was oh wow, freshman between the legs in game. What is this?
Ooh.
So that was that's my most memorable dunk. But not only that, most memorable moment of my basketball career so far, because that was crazy.
That's facts, bro. I saw that dunk. I think it's on your Instagram, and I was like, wow, this kid's scary. He's dangerous, And something that comes with dunking is the size, bro. So your current size, 6'8". We saw 175. We also saw 6'7". Currently a rising sophomore. Is all of that accurate? You got anything to fix? 175. Is there? You've been increasing your weight. Where are you at with your size weight right now?
Right now, I am 6'7", 170. I'm in the gym every day trying to work on getting stronger. That's what I'm mainly focused on right now on trying to like take the next step in my game, gaining more muscle mass, getting stronger. Because I mean, right now I pretty much have everything. It's just once I get stronger, there's like who can stop me type of thing. So I really want to take advantage of the gym time that I have to get stronger.
Exactly. So when did you really start to notice that you needed to start putting on some more weight? Like, how much do you lift? Do you have any particular exercise that you like to do?
And like, when did you start lifting? Like, when did that moment happen where you first started lifting?
When I first realized that I needed to get stronger was 8th grade when I started preparation for high school. So I started early. My parents wanted to get me like prepared to play against stronger, bigger dudes. So it was like a fall ball league or something, and I'm like, wow, they really just bumping me around like it's nothing. So after that same 8th grade year, I started working out in the gym. I think I go 4 times a week. I get 1 day off. 1 day off strength, 4 days a week lifting, and then basketball 5 days a week, and then whatever I have on the weekend, games or whatever. So yeah, pretty much what exercises, my trainer has me on a routine, so he makes me do whatever I have planned for that day. It'll be curls, bench press, squats, deadlift, pretty much everything. So yeah.
And what you putting up? I mean, we're all college athletes, bro. We're hitting the same stuff: curls, bench, squats, all of that stuff. I was literally hitting the bench this morning. So maybe it's not your 1 rep max, you know, but like, what's a general workout for you in terms of the bench and the squat? What type of weight are we putting up?
For benching, I think I'm only at like 120, 130. For squatting, I haven't squatted in a minute, but I think my last max was 275.
Okay. I mean, dude, it's always tough when you got a big basketball player like yourself, because it's just like, dude, with the bench, you got to move the bar so much further than someone who's like 5'10", you know? It's not even like, we're not even in the same universe. And so, last thing about the gym, bro, highly touted prospect, working out all the time, 24/7. I mean, we can hear it in you. How you keep yourself motivated on a daily basis to just stay on that grind?
I mean, I always tell myself that this is what I want to do. Like, I can't give up. I already started the job. There's no stopping until I get to where I want to be. So, and on top of that, you know, I got the #1 ranking. So I know there's people always trying to catch me. I got a target on my back. I just don't know. I don't want nobody to catch me. So I'm going to keep working. That's like my motivation. I just want to be the best.
And man, it's clear you're working on all sorts of different aspects of your game. Can you talk a little bit about, you know, your mid-range, your fadeaway, your jumper? How's that been coming along?
I would say my fadeaway is like my go-to shot. So I wouldn't say I'm trying to break the habit, but I'm trying not to do it as much because it's not something that I need to do. I'm 6'8". I don't need to really fade on anybody. I just shoot over them. So that's something that I'm working on. My pull-up definitely helps me get in my rhythm. Once I hit a couple pull-ups, then you go to your 3. Helps you warm up pretty much. So those are definitely big parts of my game now, being a big guard, being able to shoot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Celtics fan, bro. Jason Tatum's got that same size, and when he be shooting all of these fadeaways, I'm like, yo, attack. You're freaking huge. Like, go to the basket. So that's a great mentality that we see. And I saw a little workout video where you mentioned that maybe you wanted to transition a point guard a little bit, work on, you know, your ball handling, your passing, talked about getting your teammates involved. Can you talk about that end of the offensive game?
Yeah, so growing up, I was actually, like, younger, I was normally the 1 or the 2. But I guess as I started to get taller, I started playing the wing more. But it's something that I'm working on, like being able to get low, having small, tiny point guards on me, trying to take the ball from me, being able to go by them, even with my height. So I like to get my teammates involved. Like, I like to get a couple assists and then get some buckets. So it's like the balance of the game. I don't like to just be one-dimensional, maybe just be a scorer. Like, I want to do everything to help my team win.
So it's clear you're pretty quick on the court. Can you talk a little bit about the defensive side of your game? Just switch gears a little bit.
Yeah. Defensively, I could guard pretty much every position. there's not one position that you can't put me on and oh yeah, he's gonna kill me today. Like, I'm just not gonna let that happen. I can guard any position you need me to guard. But that's also something I'm working on, like being quicker on my feet. So when it comes to like a really, really quick point guard, I can stay in front without a problem. So yeah.
And we've talked a lot, now about your game on the court, and we've talked about your training. Another big part of basketball, though, for sure, is the film. So can you talk a little bit about how much film you watch and maybe what are some things you look for in film?
Normally when I go work out with my trainer, he'll start with making me watch film on NBA players that like are similar to my game. Like, so he'll make me watch film on Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, and then he'll compare it to my game and tell me how to do this or why I don't do this or why I should be doing this. And then we'll go to my film, and then we'll see what I'm doing in the game, and he'll tell me how to correct myself and make better, smart decisions on the court so that I don't make the same mistakes that I made in previous games. And then after we watch the film, we go work on that in the gym. So, yeah.
And you just mentioned Jason Tatum. I shouted him out too. He's my favorite player on the Celtics, KD. Are there any other NBA players who you try and model your game afterwards?
My biggest two are definitely Jason Tatum and Kevin Durant. Other players that are similar would definitely be like a Paul George type of player. So like a big guard, really. I like watching big guards. Those are like the main people that I watch.
Yeah, I think on my end too, the big guards or the opposite, the really small players. I'm either or, but those big guards, I mean, they're fun to watch. And one of my favorite things to watch in the NBA is, you got your Draymond Greens, your Pat Bevs, you got the NBA players mic'd up, talking trash to each other. Is that a part of your game at all?
Definitely. I mean, I feel like it brings some spice to the game. You don't want to just be out there playing silent. So, I mean, you go at somebody, they go at you. It makes the game more fun. And for me, I feel like when I'm talking to somebody or somebody's going at me, it makes me play like 10 times better because now I really have a chip on my shoulder, motivation to go at him and win my matchup, win the game, and it like triggers something in my head to go harder.
Is there any particular moment where you saw your game elevated due to trash talk?
I've definitely had multiple games where it was like I wasn't really in it, and then somebody starts talking to me, and now boom, I'm going from 3 points to 20 points, or 0 assists to 5 assists, 10 points, and 6 rebounds, or something like that. So it's like it wakes up a killer mentality inside, which is something I also have to work on. Like being a dog straight from the beginning of the game, because that's another thing. Once I get that killer mentality, I mean, it's like really over.
It's funny because all the football players we talk to, we say, "Yo, y'all talk any trash?" Nah, they're pretty low key about it. All the basketball players, they come out, they're like, "Oh yeah, talking trash, huge part of my game, motivates me on the court." I mean, that's why we freaking love basketball. So part of the trash talk, the NBA, and even college, high school arenas. I've been in some loud high school arenas, and that's where the trash talk is spicy. So what's the loudest stadium you've ever been in, and can you talk about playing in that environment? Because, dude, you're gonna have a lot of stadiums that are banging in your future, big crowds, all of that. How do you deal with that?
What big state? Definitely made hoops. High school, I really haven't got that experience yet because of COVID. We didn't have any fans. Peach Jam was alright. It wasn't that many people, but I guess you could say made hoops because there was a lot of people there watching our games, and it's just like everybody that's not on the court, just tune them out. You can talk to whoever's on the court, but don't let anybody off the court take you out of your game. So you can talk trash to your matchup, your other team, blah, blah, but I try and stay on the court. Don't let nobody from outside the court mess me up.
That's some golden advice right there. Yo, listeners, just peep that. That's probably like one of the most intelligent things that's ever been said on this podcast. So you've talked a little bit about, high school, AAU. Have you visited, any camps, and how big of a role did they really play in your recruiting process?
I don't really go to that many camps. I went to Pangos All-American Camp in 8th grade. It was like for freshman and sophomore. I think I was like one of the only 8th graders there. That helped me get my name out because I made it was like the All-Stars list or something like that. I had made that, and that was really it. My dad, he really doesn't like me going to participate in camps because it's like, what are the camps doing that my trainer couldn't be here helping me do? And on top of that, I could be getting strength and conditioning in. So, I mean, for my own recreational purposes, my dad lets me go to like 1 or 2 camps in the summer, and that's about it.
So, what has the college recruiting process been like for you?
I've had a lot of colleges contact my coaches and parents. I haven't really spoke to any colleges myself personally because they're not really supposed to.
Can't do that. We know.
I took unofficials to UCLA and USC over the summer. That was fun. But right now, as my sophomore season goes, I'm just going to keep working, let the college coaches call whoever they got to call to get their information about me, and I'm going to just have fun while I do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole little scheme with the college recruiting process. You got those September dates where we see everyone, finally able, the coaches to actually reach out to them. You're not having to reach out to those coaches. But one thing we always got to ask is, can you talk a little bit about that first offer? It seems to be a special one to a lot of the different players because it's that moment of validation, Even if it's not your favorite offer right now, it's that moment of, yo, a college wants me. So what was your first offer and what was that feeling like?
Actually, I was at a tournament right before my game. One of my coaches came up to me and they were like, I'm trying to think who it was. It was either Nebraska or New Mexico. They was like, yeah, blah, blah, they just offered you. So I'm like, offered me? What are you talking about? So then my dad tells me, he's like, yeah, you just got a scholarship to school. I'm like, oh, wow. Like, I'm like real hyped now. I'm about to go in my game and kill. And then the game, we kind of lost by like 40, and it was like, wow. But I was still hyped because I just got my offer. So it was like, no matter what happened that day, my energy was going to be up regardless.
And was that really the first time that you felt you were noticed on a big-time level by college scouts, or were there little signs earlier, maybe a scout here and there, a coach here and there? Like, was there any early things, or was that really the first, like, damn, I just got a scholarship?
Like, I believe, like, yeah, that really caught me by surprise. Like, I was in 8th grade, I'm like, I didn't know that was even possible. Like, I thought they would strictly stick to high school kids. So when he told me that, I was like, nah, there's no way. Like, how? Like, I'm like amazed. I was real excited.
So how many offers have you gotten up to this point?
I believe I'm at 11 right now.
There'll be more. There'll be more.
There will be more. Don't you worry.
And what were you going to say? You got what?
I got, like, I have 11, and then I got, like, a couple interests. A couple schools about to offer soon, so they're definitely gonna keep coming in as long as I keep working. So I'm excited to see what comes.
That's facts. That's the key. And when you're looking at all of these offers, do you maybe value, like, what's number one? Basketball program, academics, maybe success in March, having just packed arenas? Like, what is really a factor? Maybe it's not the main one, but what's something you like to focus on that might separate the colleges a little bit in your mind?
Well, first, I like to make sure that there's a good balance between education and basketball. So, like, no matter what, I'm going to have something to, fall back on. I'm not going to be like some dumb basketball player that doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, I've always been hard on education. So, then on top of that, it's just a good basketball history. Like, something that when I leave the school, I could say, oh, yeah, I was a part of that. Like, just a good history. So, I mean, that's really it.
Well, we got a host who is from LSU, wrapping up college right now, and he was telling me he wants you there. So that's all I'm going to say on that matter. Had to sneak in the opinion. Shout out to Zhang, but definitely a bright future. You mentioned, the academics. So that's really good to see. That's something that, we love to hear kids focus on. How have you been able to really balance basketball, academics, and everything else going on in your life right now?
I definitely always try and make sure I squeeze in time to get my work done. So, like, at school, they give us study halls, free periods. I always try and get as much work done as I can during those times so that when I come home, I don't got to worry about going to my workout, then coming home, or going to my second workout, then having to squeeze in the work and try and get enough sleep to wake up in the morning for school. So I just try and get it done during school, and if I can't do that, then I'll figure out a time to squeeze it in before my workouts at home.
Yeah, that's good. We like to see, that schedule, that discipline. And at this point, we're finishing up college. So we've been through high school, but we were not taught basketball prospects. Like, quite simply put, I was not a top basketball prospect. So I don't know, how that feels like. Do you feel like you got, maybe a spotlight or any added pressure just being the athlete that you are?
I mean, I know, like most kids, not even you don't got to be ranked or nothing, but if you're as you said, a top recruit or a top prospect, there's always somebody watching. Like, as a child, you don't want to hear it, but your childhood isn't normal. You're not a normal kid anymore. You gotta treat everything differently. So you can't go out in public and act a certain way because you don't know who's gonna watch. You don't know how that's gonna affect you. You don't know who knows who. And definitely trying to fit in time with your friends, because you always gotta work out. So you gotta figure out somehow to still enjoy your childhood, still have fun sometimes, be a kid. So it's not always about basketball. So you gotta balance. You got school, you have basketball, and then you have your normal life, spending time with your friends and family.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was transitioning to next, is that friends and family. I mean, we've talked about handling basketball and academics, but how do you find that time to spend with your friends? Do you go out to any parties at all? Maybe that's just not your thing at all, but that's another thing. I know for sure I was doing a little partying in high school. I'll admit it, but again, not a top basketball recruit. And the other part is, you got a girlfriend, you got a female interest anywhere, bro. I mean, we're all dudes. What's that like? You're a normal kid, as you mentioned. You want to have some of those normal aspects of high school. So if you don't want to answer that question, or parts of that question, don't. But is there any, female friends, parties? What are your thoughts on all of those?
Basically, every now and again, my dad, he'll give me a certain off day that I could just go out and do whatever I want. He'll ask me, oh, what do you want to do today? I'll take you here, blah, blah. So he knows that I also have to still be a kid sometimes. So he'll let me get my time in. Whenever I don't have workouts, I'll go do whatever I want. I wouldn't say I'm a big partier. I only hang out with a small group of people. I'm not one of those, I talk to everybody type of person. So, and then everything else, I mean, girls, yeah. I mean, I try not to get girlfriends right now, because that's too much to handle. You don't want to have to do school, basketball, then you got to worry about what your girlfriend's doing, blah, blah. So, I mean, yeah, they're there, but you got to, stay focused pretty much. You don't want to get distracted. Keep a tunnel vision, keep your eye on the prize type of thing.
Kid's got his priorities straight, I can see.
I mean, dude, it's facts. The girls are always going to be there. They're not going away, I promise you.
Yeah, especially if you keep working, you get yourself to the NBA. They're going to keep on coming, don't you worry, sir.
So let's get back onto basketball. No, off the females here. We've talked to a lot of ball players, and, some of them talk about playing against other top recruits. Maybe it's a camp, maybe it's a game, whatever it is. I mean, we've had kids mention, I played against De'Aaron Fox back in the day. And I'm like, no way. So can you talk about, matching up against any other top college recruits or current college players, maybe someone who's already in the NBA? You got any memorable experiences in that realm?
Over the summer, I went to California. I went and worked out with Rico Hines and did his runs and stuff. So I was playing against Davion Mitchell, Montrezl Harrell, Tyrese Halliburton, Josh Christopher, players like that, Kenyon Martin Jr. I was out there playing with them, so it really gave me a taste of what the big league is like what I got to do, how physical the game is, how hard you got to work every time you step in the gym. And it was definitely a great experience. So, yeah.
And what about, any college coaches? Have you spoken to any, maybe you've reached out to one here or there? Do you have any favorite college coaches? Maybe you haven't, bro, and it's just like me, I'm a big Coach K fan. I mean, it's a bummer that, his career wrapped itself up, but Coach K, my childhood, loved Coach K. So you got any favorite, college coaches?
As of right now, no. I mean, as I definitely, when I start taking those visits and stuff, I'm sure I will, but right now, no.
Love to hear that. Open-minded, and we've talked a lot of positives, but everyone goes through struggles. Do you have any tough moments in your basketball career that you wouldn't mind sharing, and how did you overcome these obstacles?
Definitely. Well, to start off, when I was younger, not too young, but like middle school kind of. If I had a bad game or something, I would get really down on myself, and it was like, oh, I'm in my head telling myself I don't want to play no more, blah, blah, blah. But it was like a maturity thing. As I started to mature, I realized that everybody's going to have a bad game. Nobody's going to have a perfect career. So it was just something I had to overcome. And then with weight training and all that, I go through a lot of shooting slumps. So I feel like when I go through my shooting slumps, I just really... It's really frustrating, but that's why I have more aspects to my game than just shooting, so I get to the cup or whatever, get back in the game,
I mean, it's all about keeping your head up through the struggles, bro, and again, I'm not a huge basketball player, but back in my day, I remember squatting one day and then going to try and shoot a basketball. Impossible. Ball was going nowhere near the hoop. So I promise you, we feel you on that. But, definitely some ups and downs in terms of just being a highly recruited athlete.
Speaking of which, have you had any major injuries?
Or minor ones, just any injuries at all that you've dealt with?
Not that. Well, I mean, when I was in 6th grade, I had really bad growing pains to the point where my doctor told me I had to sit out for, I think it was 6 months. I ended up sitting out for 2 weeks because it was just so hard watching people play basketball while I had to just sit there and watch. But other than that, no basketball-related injuries, no.
That's good to hear. And I mean, dude, you're freaking huge.
Yeah, it makes sense.
we got John over here. He's 6'6". I'm surprised he hasn't had any growing pains. But we've talked a lot of basketball. Can we maybe dive into some off-the-field interests? John and I, all the podcast hosts, bro, we played some 2K. We've seen a lot of NBA players getting into it recently. Did you play 2K at all?
Yeah. I don't play the new ones. I really don't like them. I play 2K20 and 2K21. I don't think I'm going to get 22.
That's the answer we like to hear.
Yeah.
We're not on the new wave either. But, here's the question for 2K, okay? This is maybe my favorite question I get to ask prospects. If you were to give yourself a 99 in any attribute in 2K, what would it be?
Does it have to be based off my actual game?
Nah. It can be. You can do it both. 1, based off your game, and 2, just do it.
I give myself a 99.3 because I wouldn't miss.
There you go. There you go.
That'd be lethal with the inside game as well. And what about
6'8"?
Just looking at yourself, what do you think is, your 99 attribute right now?
Athleticism, for sure.
We talked a lot about basketball, but are there any other off-field interests that you have outside of, playing 2K?
That isn't a basketball video game?
I mean, video games in general, nah, really. I mean, in the summer, I'll go to some water parks or something, but other than that, it's really basketball, everything.
So, only thing I feel like we haven't talked about is meal prep, eating. What are some of, your favorite foods? Maybe it's nutrition, maybe it's, your favorite place to treat yourself. What are you eating, bro? You're freaking massive. If I could eat what you eat and become 6'8", that'd be freaking dope.
I definitely enjoy eating pasta. I would say pasta and sushi are my 2 favorite foods. Chicken Alfredo.
Naas, you gotta chill, bro. Every single answer you're giving is money, pasta, and sushi. Wow. Everything you're saying, bro, solid gold, unfreaking believable. And what about, in terms of training, you got any meal prep, any protein shakes? What's that kind of look like?
Food-wise, no. dad just makes sure that I eat enough like protein to go with my working out and strength, and then I drink a protein shake with every meal I eat. I take cookies and cream ice cream because that's my favorite, and then take some protein shake powder and blend it together, and that's what I drink with all my food.
Even the cookies and cream ice cream. It's all fire, bro.
Number one prospect material.
Literally. All right, so off the court, bro, the only other thing, this is kind of another one of my favorite questions. We like to get into the music. So what type of music you listen to? Haven't had a basketball player say country yet, but I'm still going to slide it in there. So if you listen to any country, shout that out. But apart from that, what type of rap, what type of artists are you bumping?
Genre-wise, I listen to pretty much everything. I wouldn't say I listen to country, though. But I like Polo G. I like Lil Uzi. I like Lil Durk. Those are like my top three, really. But I listen to really everything.
Hey, Naas, congrats. You are the first player on Hang Time Headlines to not mention Lil Baby. The first player we've interviewed to not mention Lil Baby. He's fire, no hate on Baby, but, I think Durk, Polo G, some studs there. And do your artists at all, does that differ when you're in the gym working out, or is it just same type of genre?
When I'm in the gym, it's like more... I like cut it down to like strictly rap. Like when I'm just chilling, I might throw in some R&B, some throwbacks. But in the gym, it's like just rap, really.
So you're a sophomore now in high school, and obviously you got a lot of good coming your way. But what is something right now that you would want to say to yourself 5 years down the road?
So you say something now that you're going to hear in 5 years. What's something, one takeaway that maybe your younger self could give to your older self that you could see as being beneficial down the road?
Just keep working. Like, just don't stop. Don't let nobody stop you. Because if, at the rate I'm going right now, if I keep working like I am every day, I really think I could be one of the best to ever do it.
That's what we like to hear. Last question, which is, vice versa. Other way around. If your older self, you're looking down on Naas right now, you're watching your work ethic, watching your game, watching everything. You think there's anything that your older self might give as a piece of advice to, your younger self right now? Kind of a trippy question, to be honest with you.
I would definitely tell my younger self, stop being so nervous and shy. Like, let people know what you're capable of doing, because you're pretty much have more abilities than everybody else in the court for your age, because I'm already taller. So it'll just be, go be dominant. Stop being scared or shy.
Man, love to see it. Naas, thank you so much for joining us. Is there anyone you want to shout out right now before we wrap this thing up?
Shout out my trainer Kenny. Shout out my boys Ty, T-Bay, Jermaine, Margaret. That's about it.
Yo, audience out there. Number one prospect in the country, class of 2024, ESPN, ranked everywhere. And not only that, dude, you gave some freaking gold nuggets of information out there. Humble, down to earth, respectful,
Hardworking.
great answers from like the food to the hard work to the training. All of it, bro, was money. There was just a couple times where I was just sitting there impressed. Sometimes we have kids come on and they feel like they're inflated a little bit. They'll be talking, oh my God, I do this, I do that. Dude, you were just money interview, respectful, all around. Unreal. Thank you so much.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, Hang Time Headlines. Like, comment, subscribe, run it up, social medias, all of that. We're out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ballin' crazy with the hang time.